easier. It was this crazy looking machine. And before that, they had used slavery to process hemp back in the day. And then with the invention of the cotton gin, cotton became a preferred source of textiles. But then when the decorticator came around, it was the cover of Popular Science magazine. It said, hemp, the new billion-dollar crop, because of the fact they figured out this new machine. And then William Randolph Hearst
yes.
and Harry Anslinger, because William Randolph Hearst didn't just own Hearst Publications and Hearst, the newspapers.
Pharmaceuticals and nylon.
Well, also, he owned paper mills.
Right.
And he owned forests filled with trees they were going to chop down to make paper. And it would have cost him millions of dollars to convert all that to hemp. So this evil fuck, what he decided to do, he decided to demonize this particular plant because of the textile, because of the commodity of hemp. And he blamed it all on the psychoactive plant and then named it after a Mexican slang for wild tobacco.
Right.
So nobody knew what marijuana was when they started printing this, and they thought there was some new thing that was running rampant through our communities and causing people to do horrendous things. And then they, did the Reefer Madness films and that kind of stuff. That's where it all came from, a rich guy who didn't want to lose money. From the 1930s.
Felt threatened by what this could represent. Haunted
us almost 100 years later. The same, that propaganda, the echoes of that propaganda are what is bothering people even today.
It's really frightening to think about it that way. I mean, you see it, and then when you see it, it's sort of unraveled like that. I knew the William Randolph Hearst connection. I didn't know it to that level of detail, but there was some, this idea that people had a lot to gain from this substance being sort of really suppressed, I thought was scary. But fascinating to see because, then you look for it. You say, like, is this happening?
Well, it shows you how dangerous it is when the press is lying and when they're inaccurate and when they're allowed to print things and publish things that aren't true, that the echoes of that, as I said, could last for 90, 100 years.
Well, he was the press,
right? He was the press, yeah.
I mean, if the press is owned by somebody who is sort of using this for their own personal gains, I think obviously that's a huge problem.
Yeah, especially in the days before the internet, right?
Right.
Have you had any experiences on marijuana?
I've tried it, yeah.
Really?
I have.
When? Recently?
Not too recently.
Do you have to be careful saying this?
No, I don't care. But
you've had a drink before, right?
I've had a drink before.
Oh, okay, crazy.
Yeah. I could see the appeal of it. I really could. I think I even kept a little log of my experience. So
really?
I just was curious, like, what am I going to write? And some of the stuff that I wrote was pretty brilliant, actually. But I will say this, it did make me, and I don't know if it's my own personal thing, like I'm bringing too much baggage to it. I did get the sense of paranoia that people often talk about, and I did not find that very comfortable.
Yeah, it's supposed to be uncomfortable, I think. I think you're supposed to learn something from that.
Is that right?
Yeah,
I
think
thought
so.
It was just supposed to be like fun and like
it can
anxiety relieving.
It can be that too. Have you ever watched the video of the cops who took the marijuana from the kids and then called 911?
They thought time had stopped somehow.
That's 11-hydroxymetabolite.
That's what's happening to them.
Yeah, they're tripping balls. Because it's more like a psychedelic.
Well, they were totally paranoid.
Yes.
I mean, is that what tripping balls means?
Well, I mean, they thought time had stopped.
Right.
It's not as simple as being paranoid. They were probably watching the Earth through a different dimension.